everybody. Taylor here with Hannah and Sarah, Algebra 1 teachers at Birdville High School. Wanted to bring them in and their colleagues, but they're all sick, so they don't get to be in the video. And to talk about Algebra 1 and what all the kind of cool little things that they've been doing. So,
hello.
Hello.
How has having the Chromebooks in your classrooms maybe changed the way you've taught? I know you've had them for longer than just a year, but just talk about that.
So we kind of get overwhelmed when people bring in, all this technology. Kids are going to love it. You need to do this. And then you almost don't know where to start. So for us this year, we've done a really good job at just making the Chromebooks so easily accessible. A lot of students, everybody thinks that every single person has a cell phone and it works all the time and they're always on it. But that's definitely, we found, not the case at all, or their cell phone doesn't work or whatever issues they have. So because we've started to use them so much more regularly, it's almost like there's not a break in between getting on technology and getting back to our paper. We've started using them so much that every kid can be doing what we're doing with technology,
right,
instead of just share with the person whose phone actually works today.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of nice to be able to include everybody and really have that one-on-one with technology.
Right. And I think too, with them not having to pair with somebody else, they take responsibility for their own work. They're able to, themselves work out the problem and take ownership of it.
So I'm gonna go off we have questions right there if you all didn't know. What's the big tool that you're having them use where that transition's happening? Is it Classroom? Is it Kahoot? What is it?
We've done a lot more Kahoots, which we did last year. We've done in the past. It's pretty popular now, but we've kind of done more in the past. That was almost half the day's lesson was doing a Kahoot, and now we've kind of, in Algebra, it builds so quickly that if you didn't get this one little tiny concept, you're totally lost. Right. So we've used Kahoots more and more as almost warm-ups and just quick hits, what was this, recall information. And it's been nice to, that's not the whole day, that's just one little tiny part, and then we keep going from there.
Right. And it's been cool too because we've been able to use them for Quizlet Live. And that has probably been my favorite because they're in groups of 3 or 4, they're having to communicate and talk and having to look at each other's screens to make sure, hey, who has the right answer, make sure you click on the right one. And it makes it more engaging and more exciting.
Yeah, Quizlet Live has been awesome because if you haven't done it before, you need to. It is awesome. If they're on a team and if one person clicks the wrong answer, the entire team goes back to the beginning and they're all racing against the class. It's really, really cool for communication, and especially we have a huge push for ELLs right now and helping them in communicating with their peers, and it has really, really been cool.
Insert Quizlet Live commercial here.
Yes. Do it.
Awesome. So what improvements have you seen as far as learning goes with your students with doing the Kahoots, bringing the Quizlet Live in, and the other aspects of the Chromebooks being in your classroom? What improvements have you seen within your kids?
A little bit more retention, I would say. Kind of like that same idea on Kahoots and Quizlets and quizzes and every other kind of Kahoot type thing there is just a little bit more of that immediate feedback, so they're knowing right away if they're getting it right or wrong, and then we can build on that. So the retention of almost the basics so that we can build a stronger foundation for them.
Right. So exactly the way I would have said it, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly. All right, so my next question is a big question, but can be answered with small bits. So how are you redefining teaching math?
Good question.
That's
It is big.
And I mean, redefining might be a wrong word because redefining is saying here's how it used to be done and we've completely shifted it. But what are small shifts that you have tried or that your colleagues have tried that have maybe not been how you learned math when you were in high school?
So one thing that Taylor, one day that he was here, it was oh my goodness, that's a great idea. We're doing that today. And it was, it's almost like there's never enough teachers to go around. So one small thing we've done is I've looked at our data on what was the most missed questions. And so a lot of times I'll have students want to come back and correct them, but you end up me answering the exact same question over and over and over. So instead of doing, this long, boring video where they're just copying down work, I'll pick like the top 4 missed questions. And so then I can explain just those 4 in a video with make a tiny URL. And if that's kind of like a starting point for everybody. So I'll say, start with these 4, go through, watch the video, correct those, and then whatever other questions you have, come check with me. So we've done kind of some very mini lessons with a video, and it's still just me teaching, so it's not, you know, somebody random or somebody they don't know or questions that they've never seen before, but it does like focus them in a little bit more, and it almost like multiplies myself, which has been kind of cool to help out the students.
And it's cool with that as well, because if they don't get something or they maybe miss part of a step that she took, they can pause it, kind of go back and re-look at it again and again as they need. And we've done that as well with lessons, part of like pieces of lessons in a class, whether it's basic, you know, calculator skills. We've taken a video of that and having them, you know, plug in their headphones, watch it, and do it on their calculator themselves. So they're kind of getting that, you know, hands-on learning, kinesthetic doing, as well as hearing, auditory, and then seeing it in the video as well. So you can hit all 3 through that, which is nice.
And it, like, instead of me just being at the front of the room lecturing the whole time, kind of throwing in some of those videos here and there is just like almost like a regroup from me.
Yep.
And so it's been nice for the kids to like zone in, learn something real quick, and then we can come back together.
Yeah. It's always a resource they can go back to. That's
Yeah.
it's so accessible.
It's cool.
Yeah.
And this year, we did it a little bit last year, we're kind of doing the same thing with our final exam review. We're breaking it up into days and then doing like a video over, you know, the hardest concept or something that they may need extra help on. So it's definitely not like this, I feel like, you know, introduce technology in your classroom. It's just so overwhelming to teachers because it just doesn't make sense to say, go spend 3 to 4 hours redoing your lesson for tomorrow.
Right.
You know, it's just too overwhelming. So it's been cool to realize how easy it can be to like, we've done it more and more, so just record yourself. Most of the time I do it with my iPhone, record real quick, upload it, make a tiny URL. We've gotten so much better at it that it's not as overwhelming.
Right.
So are you loading those to YouTube or Google Drive?
Yes.
YouTube.
YouTube.
Okay.
Yep.
YouTube lesson next time. You've done a lot. We're on the brink of finals week. You guys are working on your final right now. What's your vision for next semester? Like, what ideas do you want to try? Is there anything off the top of your head that you're like, man, we talked about this, we want to maybe try to implement it a little?
So for me, this is a plug for your training tomorrow. So with the iPad, I know there's an app or a resource on that where you can actually walk around the room and write on your iPad for it to be projected to the screen. So my big thing as a teacher, as a math teacher specifically, I'm glued to the document camera most of the time, so I can't facilitate around the room and make sure that students are following along or all of that. So it allows me to engage with the student more and hold them accountable to actually following along with the notes, and I'm not connected to a document camera, which is really nice. I'm looking forward to working with that next semester.
Yeah, we had a few teachers request, they really wanted an iPad. And a lot of times, you know, as much as we want every resource possible, it's not always possible. But we were able to plug Taylor's training, and if you show up, you get an iPad. So it was like, hey, you didn't know about this, did you? So that's been kind of cool. Kind of the same thing as far as implementing technology. It just seems like so many teachers, you hear that and you're automatically turned off. Like, yeah, I know you want me to do that, I don't have the time. But we're trying to take it in chunks and do little things at a time. We're not changing every single lesson. We may change one lesson out of a unit. We may change just a warm-up. Like, it's definitely not something that our algebra classes, all technology all the time. I mean, it's not a huge change, but these little changes, we're starting to be able to build up on a lot more. So as far as some things that we'd like to do in the future, we have a teacher this year who made an Instagram for Algebra 1, Coach Carter, and you know, the students informed me that Facebook is for old people. So the Instagram, they are actually, like, some of them are starting to follow him, and he'll either just put up, you know, funny algebra stuff or maybe one answer to the homework or something like that, and it's started to get a lot of students that are at least thinking about algebra a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that may be something, I use Remind right now like most people, but it's starting to seem like maybe Instagram could be a good transition and nothing that's really that hard to do.
It's all baby steps, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Baby steps.
that's kind of my biggest thing is
Small
it's not
steps.
that hard. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a way to do some very minor things.
Right.
Well, thank you guys for being a part of our video and telling all the cool things that you're doing in Algebra 1.
We're trying.
awesome.
Trying.
Project Innovate.
Be there.
Yeah.
It's already closed now, so
Be there next time.
next time
Yeah.
in the fall. All right. Perfect. Good job.